Let's go right to our NBC News Pentagon correspondent, Courtney Kube. Courtney, good evening. On the president's social media post, he says that the United States bombed these 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including a full payload of bombs dropped on the primary site. That would, Courtney, imply, at least for all practical purposes, that in order to successfully bomb that site, the United States would have used those buster bombs that have yet to be utilized on these B-2 bombers.
Yeah, so we don't have a lot of detail at this point. Here's a couple things that I would take away from the president's Truth Social. Number one, he said we have completed are very successful. That, to me, would indicate that this was sort of the bombers went in, or the potentially other aircraft, most likely other aircraft as well, went in here, they conducted this bombing run, and they got out. They've cleared Iranian airspace. That's generally the point at which military officials or the White House, I guess, would release any kind of information once they are clear of that potentially dangerous airspace over Iran. What we don't know is exactly what was used here. So if we look at some of the factors that we've seen today, we know that some B-2 bombers, a handful of them took off from Whiteman Air Force Base over Missouri. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. That is enough time for them to get to Iran. They have the ability, Jose, to fly extremely long distances. We're talking like 3-day missions, refueling in the air, never actually touching ground. Again, we don't have confirmation that was what was used here, but we have been talking all week about how difficult it would be to actually bomb Fordo. The actual facility sits somewhere in the neighborhood of about 300 feet below the surface of the earth, and it's underneath reinforced concrete. Now, the U.S. has these bunker busters you mentioned. They're technically called a massive ordnance penetrator. And what they are, these huge, really heavy bombs. They're only about 5,000 or 6,000 pounds of total explosives, but they're about 30,000 pounds in total payload, meaning that the majority of that weight is coming from these really heavy, strong, basically outer casings that have the ability to penetrate deep into the earth about 200 feet down before detonating. Jose, if they really wanted to take out Fordo, it would take a number of these MOPS, or these bunker busters, to just continue to pound at that concrete until they're able to fully break through it. Again, we don't know that that was used, but it makes the most sense. And as we've been saying, it's one of the capabilities that Israel simply does not have. They don't have bombs of this size, and they don't have the aircraft, the B-2, that are able to actually deploy them. One thing I was surprised about this was that